Welcome everybody to our Sueur City Council meeting dated July 11, 2022. At this time, I'd like to call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Council members, you were all given a packet earlier in the week. You had an opportunity to look over this week's agenda and consent agenda. At this time, I'll be looking for an approval of the agenda. We do have an extra item that was added. I've got that here. We're looking, the extra item will be the consideration of hiring a finance analysis. So with that one addition, I will ask for any motions.
I would move to approve the agenda, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Krogman. Do we have a second? Second. Councilmember Schlueter. Any discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to presentations. Tonight we're joined by the Henderson Referendum 2022 Advocacy Committee. At this time, I would like to invite you ladies up to the podium if you wish.
Thank you. Good evening, and thank you for allowing us to come to your meeting this evening. My name is Krista Luna, and I am here with Aaron Timmers, our co-chair of the Sueur Henderson Referendum 2022 Advocacy Committee. We have with us, I'm just going to read them. We have with us some members, and I also would like to read members who are not present as well. For school staff representatives, we have Sherry Fritz, Megan Schwartz, who is here, Mel Hallnagel, Molly Schultz, who is our phone bank chair, and then Don Markison. And for community members, we have Molly Farr, Christine Froundings, Brianna Petzel, and Gavin Kraler, and Aaron. And then we have a former LSH graduate, recent LSH graduate, Dylan Feeney. So why do we believe this is the best plan? Our children, actually I think that one is mine. Our children deserve a safe and secure place to learn. The cost to renovate park exceeds the Department of Education's 60% threshold to determine when to renovate versus build new. So right now it's more cost effective in the state's eyes to build new because renovating everything is over 60% of building new. Voting no isn't free, and this is a big one we've really been working on. If we don't get a new school, our enrollment will decline, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. And the repairs are very costly. And the board, the school board, actually can vote to approve a lease levy, which would tax us without a vote. And we would be paying up to $14 million just to put Band-Aids on park. So it's not free to us. Efficiency, not only utilities in our park building, it's the most expensive building to operate in our district, the superintendent told me today, but our staffing and our busing right now are not as efficient as possible with the number of students that we have. The career and technical education fields are in high demand, and LSH needs to be competitive and renovate. And the way to do that is to renovate and slightly expand the existing space to be able to enhance our programming offered. We want to be competitive with our surrounding districts, and right now we are not. Our track and tennis courts need to be redone to ensure the safety of those who use it. I actually am going to show you some pictures in a little bit. Today I was just astounded at the condition that they are in when I took pictures. Construction costs have continuously increased, and that will not get cheaper. Not to mention the inflation right now, but just generally, over the last 10 years, 20 years, things have gotten more expensive. Construction, the future of LSH is at stake. The state could come in and close park down and say, you cannot have students here. And then what? What happens to our district? We would have a district, we would be going to close districts, and we would not have an LSH. And if we want our communities to grow, we need to draw young families here, and young families want the new modern day facilities. Oh, and here are some of the pictures. So this is the park gym. I was just in there today, and you can see those little patches. The floor is beyond repair. They're putting putty and whatever in there. They can't actually sand it down and surface. They can't do any of that anymore because the boards are so thin. So this would need to be completely redone. It's uneven in different places, and it's just really not that safe. And this is just a small part. This is throughout the whole gym. Also, the bleachers in the back, obviously they're old, but they don't meet ADA requirements. And as soon as we tap into the building and start doing one thing, then we have to, get up to meet all of the state requirements. This is upstairs in a classroom that currently is a conference room. This is the old part of the school, so the 1930 part. And these are just some of the tiles, and it's believed that those are asbestos product. And you can't really tell, but they are really warped and just really not safe. This kind of is self-explanatory. These are original, I believe, boilers. I didn't go up on the roof to get the rooftop units, but those also need to be replaced as well. This is also down in the boiler room. This just shows the rusting plumbing, and I believe all of those, the insulation there is the asbestos in there. This is actually an auditorium at Park, and this is up in one of the corners, just the mold. There's also like 3 big ceiling fans. There's mold around those. We don't even use the auditorium anymore. We're not allowed to go in there, but it is connected to the gym. These are some more cosmetic things, a bird's burrow there on the right side, and this is kind of like a trim. But those things obviously have just fallen to the wayside because we've been fixing the things that are important and to keeping the building up, and these things this is all around the school. So on the left there, we have AC units, window units in all of the classrooms, except for a few that are on like a central air conditioning line. So just talking about efficiency, one of the reasons that Park is very inefficient. And then I just took some pictures of some of the foundational pieces around the school. There's quite a bit of that kind of thing that you see on the right. Secure entrance, we talk about having a safe place for children to learn, and this is our entrance at Park. I don't think I put the picture in that shows what you go into next. It's just like an entryway. There's no way for the office to see other than the camera outside, which sometimes works and sometimes doesn't, where those people go. So you walk into the building and you'd have to go to the right to the office, down the hall a little bit, like 2 doors down. They could go straight to classrooms and they could turn left to classrooms before the office could even get out to them. So this is a concern. This is our tennis court that I was telling you about. The blue area is the play area that the players are on. And there's lots of cracks throughout all of those courts there. I took a lot of pictures, but these cracks are pretty significant. And over time, if we don't take care of this, they're just going to become uneven. And I worry about the safety of players even more so down the road. There is some unevenness. I did this too because the picture on the left there just shows all those little cracks. And then that one is in the green area on the right there, but it's pretty significant, and that just shows the settling, I'm sure. And it's time for the tennis courts to be redone anyway. Their life expectancy is up. This is our track, and it was really hard to show this. The 2 lanes there that are closest to where I was taking the picture, there's some uneven parts to it around the whole track. This right here on the very bottom, that's like the base. And then you can see the crack in that and just how it's affecting the top. I know it's really hard to see. I couldn't get a better picture to show that, but there's unevenness in the track. So you think of runners running around the track. This really needs to be redone, which is in question 3. This is our woods area, and this is the classroom part of our woods area. You can see those windows there in the distance, and that is where garage door used to be. I'm guessing before like the 2010 renovations it was there. I'm not exactly sure when they took that out, but we would like to put that back in to allow and kind of revamp our woods area. Here's another part of the woods area. Kind of revamp that, put that door back in so we can do some of the things like building sheds and community projects that we can do. Mr. Wagner's talked about like building little houses and things that they could do inside in inclement weather, but then also take outside to work on as well. And this is, it looks like a kind of a mess right now, but lots of things have been put in there. There's the garage door. So if you're standing by the football field, that's kind of where this part is, where you see the garage door in the back. There's welding in this part. And this is also part of that CTE, revamping that. It's close to our CAD lab. So this is what's also included in that CTE expansion in question 2. 3. All right.
Hi, I'm Erin Timmers, like Krista said. So we're part of the Vote Yes committee, this advocacy committee. We formed in the springtime after the new plan was announced. We got together and said we want to do what we can to help get this referendum passed. So some of the things that we've been doing, one of the things we learned right away was that only 40% of parents of LSH students voted in the last election. So we really wanted to focus on getting parents out to vote this time around. So while we formed in the spring, we knew we only had a couple of months left before the school year ended to really capture parents. So we started attending school events and just spreading the word. We had postcards made about the new plan. We were present at choir concerts, band concerts, the PTO carnival, the end of the year award ceremony, just trying to get the word out to parents that this is a good plan, we support it, and just to get the word out to come vote, because we really want a higher turnout this time around. We started phone banking in June. So again, we started with parents, but now we're calling community members as well who are not parents. Just to make sure they've heard about the referendum. When we first started calling, a lot of community members had not heard, so we were just sharing information, asking if they had questions that we could help answer for them, following up with text messages with information and resources where they could go to find out more. And then we've been fundraising to get out a couple of mailings as well. So we've done one mailing as the Vote Yes committee ourselves, and we're hoping to do another one before the end of the before election day comes, where we can just again kind of share why we think it's important to vote yes, make sure people know about the referendum and what's in it. And then a lot of it has just been talking to community members, whether it's in person, just people we know, spreading the word. We've been spending a lot of time sharing posts on our Facebook page too, that we're sharing to our own profiles, that we're sharing to the community pages to help just share information, get the word out. We're doing a lot of frequently asked questions to try to get community members' questions answered too. And then pretty soon here, we're going to start canvassing the town, going around door knocking, making sure people understand how they can register to vote, that election's coming up, answering questions again. And then we talked to the Henderson Independent last week. That article just came out. In the Lee Sueur County News. So just trying to, again, do what we can to get the word out about the referendum. So we are different from the district in that we can, work hard to identify and encourage supporters and share our personal reasons for voting yes and why we think other people should vote yes. The district exists to share information and educate the public about what the questions are, answer questions in that way, but they can't share, one way or another how people should vote. So that's where we come in to kind of give our personal pleas of why we are voting yes, why we think it's so important, why we're part of this committee, to really try to draw out the support within the communities to get people to vote yes. So Mr. Wagner, our superintendent, did the community meetings where he invited public to come do the tours of park, to share information, answer questions, talk through questions 1, 2, 3 of the referendum. He's been, meeting with different community groups as well. And then we're doing some of that other work, like I said, like hoping to target parents to come out and vote, just share our reasons for voting yes.
So what is our marketing plan up to Election Day? Just talking to as many people as we possibly can. We have found many people don't know the specifics and the behind the scenes, what has gone into planning this and what has been considered, and don't know that we've been actually working on this for years. And so just really talking to people, encouraging people to vote and vote as an informed citizen. Going door to door to share our mission, reaching out to populations who might not otherwise, vote or otherwise even consider voting, continue to share the facts, mailing postcards out to residents, and attending community events. So now, before I do that, we have a few people here who would like to share their whys as to why they are voting yes. So Brianna, do you want to?
Hi, everybody. I'm Brianna Petzel. I live in rural Henderson. Lived there for 10 years. My husband, Greg, grew up there, and we raise our family there now. So we have 3 young children, ages 3, 2, and 8 weeks, actually. So we are voting yes because we want the best for them and the community that we're raising them in. We love that we're raising our kids in a small town, and we really see the advantages of putting them through this school system. We want them to be educated in an acceptable environment, and one that gives them the best opportunity to be, to grow and to learn into kind and successful young adults when they come out of the school system. We don't want them to have to sacrifice in terms of their learning environment, and we really feel they deserve a safe, positive and modern place to learn. So we really hope the community comes out in support of this and votes yes for the kids and just for the future of the towns as well.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dylan Feeney. I'm an LSH graduate of 2021, and I'm currently going to Mankato State for history teaching. I have also been the announcer for several sports for our Giants the last 4 or 5 years and tried to stay involved with the community as best I can. The school district has always been very special to me. I grew up in this district and has helped me grow into the development of the person I am today. I wouldn't be standing here today if it weren't for the teachers and staff in our district for helping guide me along the way in my journey. The district has helped me, and now I want to do my part in helping the district. It's no secret that Park Elementary is old. The original part of it is 92 years old. That means it was built 3 years before FDR was even president. As someone who went to the school there, I can say I do hold a special place in my heart for the memories that were made there, but I also know Park Elementary is a relic of a different time. Today, we are here to talk about the referendum, a referendum to help improve our district to make it more suitable for the 21st century learning environment. The referendum from last fall did not gain the community support that the district was looking for. The community gave its feedback and the school district listened. They made their changes and their adjustments, and I feel that this referendum is better than the last. My question to the citizens of our school district is this: why should we settle for less for our students and the future leaders of our country? Why should we not provide them with the best facility and give them the best opportunity to learn and grow? I implore the citizens of our school district to get informed and to learn about the opportunity that we have to make our school district better for this generation and future generations to come. Thank you.
I didn't write anything down, but I have 2 young kids as well who are 3 and 1. And just on behalf of the parent community members in our group, there's 5 of us who are not part of the educators in the Vote Yes committee. And just between the 5 families, we have soon to be 13 kids amongst us who are not yet even in kindergarten. So there are young families here in the communities who are coming back, who are moving here, who are staying here, who want to raise their kids in LSH, you know, in this district and send our kids to LSH. And we've been having conversations of we don't know what we will do if the referendum doesn't pass. And we all want to send our kids to LSH. We want our kids to grow up together, go to school together. That's, you know, a big part of the reason why we're here with each other, you know, back in our hometowns. And it's a disheartening thought to think about what might happen if it doesn't pass. And I know we're not the only young families who are in that critical decision-making time who are having to make those tough decisions for our families. So, you know, declining enrollment will only hurt both towns and the district so much. I can't emphasize it enough that I really hope both communities can see the urgency of, you know, the issue here and think about the future of our kids. So it's a super important issue to me. That's why I've been doing this and putting all of my extra time and effort into it, because I want the best for my kids and for, you know, all of the kids in our community.
As a parent, educator, and tax-paying community member, I'm urging people to go out and vote yes 3 times on August 9th. My children won't personally reap the benefits of this referendum and most of the money we are voting on, but my new friends, their kids, my neighbors' kids, and possibly my grandchildren will. In my elementary classroom, I can put a Band-Aid on a boo-boo for a child and it'll be all better. And that does not work at Park anymore. It is a wasteful use of taxpayer dollars, and our children deserve a safe and healthy place to learn. So I'm just encouraging everyone to get educated on the information behind the referendum and go out and vote August 9th. We thank you for your time this evening.
Thank you very much, ladies and committee. I appreciate your presentation. I'm very well prepared, by the way. You did very well in the pictures, speak volumes. And also it's very powerful to have a recent alumni here to give his presentation. Very well done, Mr. Feeney. We appreciate that. I just want to kind of conclude by saying there isn't a bigger ally for your group than the city council. We understand that when you succeed, we're going to succeed too. And when we succeed, you succeed. So it's important to see growth, not only in our community, but with our school district. And we've been a resource for the school. We just had a workshop with them last month, as you know. So we will do whatever we can do to work together for your cause and like to see the school district succeed. And I'd like to invite any council members, if you have anything you want to add, this is your time if you wish. So thank you. Thank you. And I want to wish you well with your cause. I personally am behind you. I endorse you and I thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
At this time, we will move on to the consent agenda. All items on the consent agenda are considered routine and have been made available to the city council at least 2 days in advance of the meeting. The items will be enacted in one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member or citizen so requests, in which event the item will be removed from the agenda and considered in normal sequence. At this time, I will ask that our city administrator, Mr. Roby, review these with us, if you would.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This evening, we have several items on the consent agenda. The first is to approve the city council minutes as submitted by Deputy City Clerk Fahey from the June 27th, 2022 city council meeting. Item B, approve disbursements through July 11th, 2022, including purchases over $25,000. Those are some Main Street substation repairs to L&S Electric for $70,200. Landmark structures for pay application number 10 for our composite elevated water tower for $57,000. MMPA and Avant Energy for June 2022 purchase power, $830,059.98. Pembroke Companies for pay application number 10 for the South Main Street project of $165,905.49. The Stuart C. Irby Company for supplies for the CASA 36 underground electric distribution project for $443.82, and WW Blacktopping for their continued 2022 street maintenance work of $101,885.12. I would, as a side note to this, I would ask that if there's a motion provided to approve the consent agenda, there is one disbursement for $1,000 for the Giant Days Committee that I would ask to be removed at this time. We have a meeting tomorrow with the Giant Days Committee to discuss their planning, and for the time being, I would like, that would be my recommendation, to remove that disbursement from the approval. The third item on the consent agenda item is the actual payment application number 10 to Pembroke Companies for South Main Street. Item D, approve the payment application number 10 for Landmark Structures. These, of course, are just the improvement of the actual payment applications for the disbursements that were in item B. Items E and F are approving pole attachment agreements for LTD Broadband and Mediacom. Those are our agreements that allow companies to attach their technology to our electrical poles for their use. So we effectively rent the poles and wires out to them. So the LTD Broadband and Mediacom are updated versions of old agreements that have been in place for some time now. Item G, approve the Sueur County Municipal Maintenance Agreement. This is for our county state aid highways. There's some funding that we receive every year through Sueur County via the state. And this is every year we sign an agreement with the county for maintenance dollars that come to the city for maintenance of the county roads that are in city limits. Item H is approval of a memorandum of understanding for the garage removal at 600 and 606 South 2nd Street for the CASA 36 project. This is the garage that if you're heading out toward the Ottawa Road, it's on the east side of the road. There's a garage that is in the right of way, right at the edge of the curb. And the MOU is with the county and property owners to allow us to move forward with the process of removing that garage. And item I, approve the police department surplus property declaration. The information's in the packet, but involves 4 different vehicles that the police department seized through DWI and the court process that we would like to declare surplus.
Any questions on the consent agenda?
Mr. Mayor, why don't we, Joe, if you could, tell how much money we got on the municipal agreement for the maintenance. I can say it if you want me to, but.
That's fine. Absolutely, I can say it. So for the 7 3/4 miles of county state aid highway that we maintain, we receive $8,376.19 per mile for a total of $64,915.47 for the maintenance of those roads.
Right.
Very good.
I have one more question.
Yes.
On the, could you explain the MMPA purchase power of almost $1 million?
Absolutely. Thank you for the question, Councilmember Huntington. It's not unusual, as council members will note, for our monthly MMPA bill to hover anywhere from $500,000 to $600,000, $650,000, $700,000. June's was notably higher for 2 main reasons. One is it was for June, and it's typical for our bill for purchase power to be higher in the summer months because of sheer volume and usage. So our residences and businesses, all of our customers are using more electricity, therefore we're buying more electricity. So our bill is typically higher in the summer because of just pure kilowatt hour usage. Secondly, because of the dynamics of the energy market right now, it is simply much more expensive to purchase electricity than it has been in a long time. So at this point, of course, we won't get the July bill until the 2nd or 3rd of August. But at this point, while I don't know what the final price will be, I don't expect it to go down materially from one month to the next. So it's really two things, a confluence of two things. It's summer, it was hot in June, and energy prices are high.
Okay, any other questions? Otherwise, I'll accept a motion to accept the consent agenda other than on the disbursements of the Giant Days Committee of $1,000. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay,
So moved.
thank you, Councilmember Sullivan. Councilmember Williams, any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to public comment. Public comment provides the opportunity for the public to address the council on items that are not on the agenda. Comments will be limited to 5 minutes per person. Persons wishing to make comments must sign up in advance of the meeting on the sheet provided and identify themselves by providing their name and address. Mr. Roby, do we have anybody that wants to share anything with us tonight? No. If not, we will then move on to the city administrator's update. Mr. Roby.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I have a few items I'd like to bring up to council tonight. First of all, today was Mr. Ryan Graff's first day as city finance director, and he promised me he'll come back tomorrow, so I consider that a success. We're thrilled to have Ryan on board, and I trust the feeling is mutual, so we're very excited to have him on board, and he's eager to get going. The finance analyst will be later on the regular agenda, so I'll discuss that then. We also had a first day today for our newest electric lineman, Jacob Lohman, who council approved his hiring at the last meeting. That's very exciting for the electric department. As many of you know, the tenure in our electric department is significant, and it's not every day that they get a new lineman, or sometimes even every decade that they get a new lineman. So we're very excited to have Jacob aboard and look forward to meeting with him and working with him. The water tower was painted this last weekend, as most people have seen. They have blue paint that's on back order, so the bottom of the bowl will be blue. But the rest, they used all the blue paint they had to do the S, and the rest of it is on back order. CASA 36 project is moving along well. We've had questions about trees, the replacement trees, the types of trees, and locations of where those trees are going to be. If you hear of any questions from community members, please forward them my way, and I'll work with city engineer Bean Fang and project engineer Eric Hauser to answer those questions. As I mentioned earlier, we have a meeting tomorrow, city staff, with the Giant Days Committee to discuss what their plans are for the weekend of Giant Days in terms of what the map is and what their overall plan is. So what the city has encouraged in the past is an open dialogue with Giant Days Committee, it being the biggest festival that we have every year that involves the shutdown of some roads and high usage of the parks every year. So Police Chief Tiki and Deputy City Clerk Fahey and Public Services Director Kachera and I will be meeting with the committee tomorrow to get an understanding of what their plan is, what their needs are, so that we can, as a city, prepare anything that we may need to make sure that from an infrastructure standpoint, from a city standpoint, that we are prepared for the event. And then finally, at the last meeting, Councilmember Schlueter had asked a question of me about actually pertaining to the referendum question that was addressed in our presentation tonight. And I did put together a few slides on this that I just want to talk through, and you can certainly ask questions as we go through. But just so the question that Councilmember Schlueter posed last time was, from a city perspective, what are the benefits and risks associated with the three questions in the referendum that will be posed to our community's voters on August 9th. Just so in summary, on August 9th, the district will be going to all voters in the district, so Sueur and Henderson and the townships, for a 3-part bond referendum. And Mrs. Luna referenced questions 1, 2, and 3 in her presentation earlier. Question 1, of course, is kind of the linchpin. If question 1 doesn't pass, then question 2 and question 3 cannot, even if they tally enough votes to pass, they are deemed unsuccessful. So from a city standpoint, I think in general, it's fairly clear to see that the success or failure of this referendum coming up here has an effect on the city more broadly. And what Councilmember Schlueter had referenced was the 2040 comp plan from an economic development standpoint, infrastructure, and a partnership standpoint. What does the city stand to gain or lose from the outcome of the referendum? So I just put a couple thoughts together instead of just, it's up here instead of spinning off the top of my head. From a comprehensive plan standpoint, I think the word school is referenced 3 or 4 dozen times in the comprehensive plan itself. And I don't think that's a surprise to anyone in this room, and it's likely not a surprise to anyone in our community. School-city partnerships are highlighted throughout the plan. In the plan's engagement strategy, where the city began to go out and actively solicit input from members of the community, there were, I think, 4 key characteristics that this community is most proud of or considers the most important. One was the hospital. One was the fact that we're a small community. One was our location in proximity to the metro and Mankato areas. And the 4th was our schools. Location and the size of our community are not real things that we have control over. From a city standpoint, we've maintained a positive relationship with our healthcare campus for many, many years now. That's something that we can, as a city, control and have some say in. The partnership that we have with the hospital, which is ongoing as we continue to repay the debt on that, and the schools. Strategy 6 itself in the comp plan, and I just put the quote in here because I think it sums it up pretty nicely. The support and that the city should support and enhance educational institutions. Schools are perhaps the most prominent asset within the community of Sueur. Schools are a primary factor in a family's location decision. In order to attract entrepreneurs and business interests, the city must continue to maintain high-quality school facilities and educational programming. And I think part of what Superintendent Wagner was able to emphasize in our joint meeting was that this is not just about school facilities, but from an educational programming standpoint, the setting in which you provide education has a direct effect on the programming itself, how you're able to deliver that education. And it's a lot different than it was in 1932. From an economic development standpoint, there's a lot to unpack with this one, but just a few highlights. From a straight dollars and cents standpoint, every net positive student that the district gains means additional aid from the state, and it's somewhere in the neighborhood of $7,000 that the school district gets for each student. When you're losing maybe 200 students net per year in open enrollment, that's a direct bottom line hit to our school district, and not only to our school district, but also, via the fact that we have many of our school staff members living and working in the community with spouses working in the community. It has a direct effect on wages in our school district. That has a trickle-down effect or trickle-out effect, I should say, to other areas of the community, and the city is certainly not immune to that. And high-quality facilities is a key component of reversing the open enrollment loss that the district has been sustaining over the last several years. It's certainly not the only component, but it is a key component. And Superintendent Wagner, I think, said it himself, that when he was looking to work here, because he has kids himself in the district, that if Park were the only building and that's where he was going to have to send his children, he would not have chosen to work here. Also, from an economic development standpoint, the school district is one of the largest employers in the city and has been for 60, 70 years now. And it's not out of the realm of possibility to think of what may happen should the open enrollment issue become an even greater issue. If something were to happen to Park Elementary School, we have to bring all of our students over from Hilltop into the Park building, and what message that sends to not only potential families, but future families as well. And then what in turn that means to employers as enrollment drops. People expense is about 80% of a school district's budget. So when budgets need to go by the wayside, 80% of it's in people cost. There's an interesting article from the U of M extension that talked about resident recruitment in greater Minnesota. And for what it referenced is that for a long, long time, the jobs first mentality was what greater Minnesota focused on. If you have the jobs, people will come. And what they realized through a study back in 2019 was that jobs aren't the only component to it, that you can have lots and lots of jobs, but it's not necessarily going to make people want to live in your community. And our community is very fortunate that we have a lot of jobs within our city limits. But some of the other, in greater Minnesota in particular, people are leaving urban areas, coming to greater Minnesota for smaller town life, smaller schools, less crime, just in general, a good environment for raising children. And so cities and communities that support a strong school district enhance their ability to gain some of that recruitment. And I know that was referenced in the presentation earlier. But certainly having, what we have right now is families who are coming in and touring a building that's 92 years old in the condition it's in. And it doesn't take very long to make a determination if you're a parent of whether this is absolutely a place that you want to send your kids for the next 6-7 years. And then from an infrastructure and partnership standpoint, simply put, the school district is currently one of the city's largest non-residential consumers of electricity and water. Without a doubt, any new construction would be more efficient than Park School, but it's still better than not having a school at all, or seeing declining enrollment and seeing what the effect that might have on our utility usage. Future consideration for solar and renewable partnerships. I think this is something that we obviously would have to explore out, but with new construction, there are opportunities for that. And also from a career and tech standpoint, the school district not too long ago, in fact, earlier this year, looked at a solar installation or the potential for a solar installation on the roof of the middle school and high school. It's something that's certainly possible. And I think the chances with new construction, the chances of doing something like that are greater, simply because if I'm the school district, I'm a little bit apprehensive about doing anything significant around green energy with a 90-year-old building. And then finally, the passage of the referendum would create opportunities for partnership in several ways. The Park Elementary footprint, we know from Mr. Wagner's presentation that there are no clear answers on what would be done with that parcel of land, but it's, I think, 13 plus acres directly adjacent to Legion Park. What that partnership would look like, what the use of that would look like, we don't really know, but it's a great opportunity for us as a community to evaluate some really, really incredible land in the heart of our city. From a career and tech standpoint, this part is exciting to me because from a utility standpoint, a public works, airport and facility standpoint, we have a lot of opportunities for, call it, co-educational learning for students. I mean, the district just started its aviation program this year, or this coming year will be its first year of its aviation program. They're relaunching a First Farmers of America program and an ag program at the school. With an enhanced CTE program, I can see partnerships with the city and school for things like engineering, design, construction trades, building maintenance, plumbing, more opportunities certainly than we have now with the current CTE program the school has. And for recreation, we're just embarking now on our rec facilities master plan. And, I know there are some questions about what rec facilities mean long-term for the school. I think this is a really great time for the city to be having these conversations about our rec facilities, given the vote that'll be coming up here in August. But we have a long history of partnering both with the private school and with public schools around use of facilities, and we're going to work to firm that up in the future. So I think making our future a little bit more clear with some better facilities certainly benefits the city. That's my response to your question, Councilmember Schlueter.
Thank
Do you
you,
have any
Administrator Roby. After we had the joint meeting with the school board, I just wanted to hear the city's perspective as to how this referendum was going to affect how we operated and where we were going in the future. So I appreciate you following up and answering my questions.
Thank you. I think you referenced 2 weeks ago that you had a lot to unpack. Well, you did, and you moved right in. So thank you, Joe. With that, we will move on to today's regular agenda. There's one item that we added, and that would be the consideration of hiring a financial analysis. Mr. Roby, do you want to kind of summarize what that is all about? Thank you.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council approved the hiring of a finance analyst to report to the finance director back in February of 2022. We had a very strong candidate who ultimately did not work out. And shortly thereafter, Administrator Krugel announced that he would be leaving. And so we opted to wait on reposting the position until we could determine what direction we were headed with our finance director position. In early May, we reposted the finance analyst position, and I have to say we had a very, very strong pool of candidates. We had 26 total applicants, did a first round interview of 7, a second round interview of 4, very strong candidates. I was really thrilled to see that. And ultimately, Jessica Schultz, who is currently employed at Nicollet County in their finance and accounting department, is the recommended candidate. And so at this time, I do not know when her start date would be. Following council consideration of her hiring, I would have a conversation with her about her potential start date.
Any questions for Administrator Roby regarding the hiring of our finance analysis? And the candidate is Jessica Schultz. If not, I'll entertain a motion. Thank you, Councilmember Huntington.
Second.
Seconded, Councilmember Schlueter. Any other discussion, comments, concerns? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? The ayes have it. Moving on to comments, reports, items of appreciation. Council members, this is your opportunity to share any community events you want to cover. At this time, we will start with Councilmember Huntington. As always, yours first.
Thank you. Just a couple things. We had a meeting of RPAC last week. Not much really jumping off the paper for that one. Other than the fact is that if you've noticed, we have new benches around the city, usually Elmwood. That was a donation by the Rotary and the Lions together. And a special thanks to our former city council member, Johnny Favely. So I guess apparently is doing most of the head work of that kind of stuff. So that's a great see to our community. And tomorrow I have a MRVT meeting at our Minnesota River Valley Transit board meeting tomorrow, 2:30, St. Peter Community Center. All is welcome. It's always open to the public. And that's my community stuff. And as far as a personal note, just wanted to mention about the Giant celebration, I guess. They have their grand marshals for the parade. I guess there's 5 of them, I guess, as I understand. And not to get the names wrong, I just know there's 5, so I'm not going to say who they are. So if someone who knows who all of them are, go ahead and share. But congratulations to all of them. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Krogman,
I have nothing, sir.
Councilmember Schleter.
First, I'd like to thank the referendum Vote Yes Advocacy Committee, Krista Luna and Aaron Timmers for your presentation tonight, and also to Brianna Paetzel and Dylan Feeney for speaking. I'd also like to comment on Bill Moskovich's public comment from the last meeting. First, for those who want or need to water their lawns or gardens without paying the additional sewer charge on their main meter, please reach out to the city offices about having a second meter installed. And secondly, it ties into some other questions, comments that I've been getting from people in the past relating to no mow May, the water costs to water the lawns and the cost of mowing in general with gas prices, the nuisance ordinances that are going out for lawn height, specifically the Bridge Street properties on the CASA 22 project, which were very recent, and boulevard ground cover failures over the past few years and options going forward with the current and future projects the city has in store. So I hope we can have a discussion on that at a future meeting.
Thank you, Councilmember Schleter. Councilmember Sullivan.
The only thing I have tonight is we had a fire commission meeting last week. Was it last week, Joe? Or was it the week before?
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. And the only major update out of that is we did receive our new tanker as of last Wednesday, correct, Joe?
That's correct. Yep, fire department's new tanker. The guys went and picked it up. They're thrilled with it. They finally have a safe tanker to drive. And the old one will be, which was declared surplus at the last council meeting, will be heading to auction.
Perfect. Thanks, Joe.
Thank you. And then lastly, Councilmember Williams.
I have nothing.
Nothing tonight. And we're going to end with myself. I have nothing to add either, other than I can't believe we're talking about Giant celebration already. But the summer's clicking right along here, and I'm looking forward to the Giant celebration. So with that, I will. Do you have anything else, Mr. Roby?
I do not.
Thank you. With that, I'll ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.